Hello, fellas. As you know, the year 2025 is wrapping up, and it's just some days left for the new year. And we all can relate one thing with each other. Like most of us, many made their New Year's resolutions that they'd do this and that. Well, I did it at the start of 2025, but like maximum people, I successfully destroyed my year 2025 and couldn't do what I thought. So, as the year's ending, I thought, let's at least do one thing. So I feel a little proud of myself that at least I achieved one little thing from my year 2025 resolution, is to make a movie anime review channel. So, no more wasting time, let's dive into the year's most loved and fantastic masterpiece, Del Toro's Frankenstein. This is the story Hollywood's been butchering since 1931, finally getting the treatment it actually deserves. It's dark, it's gothic, and it's better than anything we've gotten from the Cape Brigade in half a decade. This is what happens when you let a filmmaker with an actual vision play with the classics. Let's grab some snacks and dive into this amazing horror. Now, if you're expecting a mindless slasher where some big lad with bolts in his neck grunts for 2 hours, you're in the wrong theater. This film is about generational trauma, and before you roll your eyes, hear me out. Victor's father was a cold, distant bastard. So naturally, Victor grows up to be a cold, distant bastard. The real horror isn't the creature's face, it's that Victor sees his own failures staring back at him in those stitched-together eyes. Victor didn't create a monster, he created a son, then abandoned him. The film asks one simple question: what happens when you play God but can't even handle being a father? And here's where Del Toro gets it right, where so many others got it wrong. This isn't about lightning and laboratory equipment, it's about a cycle of neglect that spans generations. Victor's obsession with conquering death stems directly from his father's emotional absence. He thinks creating life will prove his worth, but all he does is perpetuate the same abandonment he suffered. The creature becomes what Victor feared most, a mirror reflecting his own inadequacy as both creator and father figure. The performance, Elordi and Isaac. Let's talk about the cast, because this is where the film could have fallen apart, and instead it soars. Jacob Elordi. Yeah, the guy from Euphoria. I was skeptical too. Teen drama pretty boy playing one of literature's most iconic monsters? Sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. But here's the thing. He doesn't play the creature like a zombie or some CGI abomination. He plays him like a broken child trapped in the body of a nightmare. Every movement is awkward, painful. You can practically hear the stitches tearing with each step. There's this scene early on where the creature is learning to walk, and Elordi makes you feel every stumble, every moment of confusion and pain. It's not monster acting. It's human acting through a monster's body. The practical effects work helps immensely here. No mocap dots, no green screen reference mark errors. Just prosthetics, makeup, and an actor committing fully to the physical reality of being assembled from corpses. When the creature looks at his reflection for the first time, Elordi's performance is heartbreaking. You see the moment innocence dies, replaced by the crushing realization that he'll never be accepted, never be loved. And then there's Oscar Isaac as Victor. Now, Isaac's been brilliant in everything from Ex Machina to Dune, but this might be his best work yet. He's not playing a hero or even an anti-hero. He's playing a narcissist who thought he could outsmart death and realized too late he's just a coward with a god complex. Isaac brings this frantic, manic energy that makes you want to slap some sense into him and feel sorry for him at the same time. Watch his eyes in the creation scene. There's triumph there, yes, but also terror. He knows he's crossing a line, but his ego won't let him stop. And later, when he abandons the creature, you can see the justification happening in real time on his face. He's convincing himself it's the right thing to do, even as we know it's the worst possible choice. The dynamic between these two actors is what elevates the film from good to great. They're playing two sides of the same damaged soul, one desperately seeking connection, the other desperately fleeing from it. Visually, it's a Del Toro film, so of course it's gorgeous. Every frame looks like it belongs in a gallery or a nightmare. He pulled massive inspiration from Bernie Wrightson's illustrated Frankenstein from 1983, and you can see it in every shadow, every texture, every grotesque detail of the creature's assembly. For those unfamiliar, Wrightson's Frankenstein is considered one of the greatest illustrated books ever made. His pen and ink work created this incredibly detailed, Baroque vision of Mary Shelley's novel. Del Toro basically said, "What if we made that live action?" And the madman actually pulled it off. Whether it's the damp, rotting stone of Victor's laboratory or the endless, soul-crushing white void of the Arctic wastes, the cinematography does half the storytelling. This is Gothic romance in its purest, most brutal form. No modern gloss, no safe edges, just raw, dark, beautiful horror. But let's talk about specific choices Del Toro makes that set this apart. The color palette shifts throughout the film. Victor's childhood home is all cold blues and grays, emotionally sterile despite its wealth. The university scenes introduce warmer tones, suggesting possibility and hope. Then the laboratory sequences go dark, lit primarily by firelight and lightning, creating this hellish atmosphere. And finally, the Arctic scenes drain all color entirely, leaving us in a moral and visual wasteland. The creature design itself deserves an entire video. Unlike the flat-headed, bolt-necked icon from Universal's 1931 film, this creature looks genuinely assembled. You can see the seams, the different skin tones, the surgical scars. His face is asymmetrical, one eye slightly higher than the other, the jawline not quite matching. It's unsettling because it's almost human, but clearly wrong. Del Toro understood that the horror comes from the uncanny valley, not from making him a simple monster. And the way Del Toro shoots the creature evolves as the character evolves. Early on, he shot in shadows and fragments, an arm here, a silhouette there. As the creature gains intelligence and self-awareness, we see him more clearly, more completely. By the end, Del Toro isn't hiding him at all. The monster is fully revealed, and the real horror is that we've come to sympathize with him more than his creator. Staying faithful to Shelley's novel. Now here's something that needs to be said. Del Toro actually read the bloody book. I know, revolutionary concept in Hollywood, right? But seriously, this is the most faithful adaptation we've gotten since Kenneth Branagh tried in 1994, and even that one took some questionable liberties. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein isn't really about a monster at all. It's about responsibility, about the consequences of playing God without considering the moral implications. It's about what we owe to our creations, to our children, to the lives we bring into this world. Del Toro gets that. He keeps the framing device of Walton's Arctic expedition. He includes the creature's education through observing the DeLacy family. He doesn't shy away from the multiple murders the creature commits, but he also doesn't let Victor off the hook for creating the situation in the first place. One of the best decisions Del Toro made was keeping substantial portions of the creature's monologues from the novel. In the book, the creature is eloquent, philosophical, and tragic. He's not a grunting brute. He's a thinking, feeling, being capable of poetry and profound insight into human nature. The film preserves this. There's a scene where the creature confronts Victor and delivers this devastating speech about what it means to be created without consent, to exist without purpose or companion. It's lifted almost verbatim from Shelley's text, and it hits like a freight train. Hollywood has spent decades turning Frankenstein into a Halloween costume, a comedy prop, a mindless villain. Del Toro gave us back the tragedy that Shelley intended. This isn't a horror story about a monster. It's a horror story about human cruelty, abandonment, and the price of unchecked ambition. What sets this apart from other adaptations? Let's address the elephant, or should I say, the corpse, in the room. There have been dozens of Frankenstein adaptations over the past century. So what makes this one special? The 1931 Universal film with Boris Karloff is iconic, no question. It defined the visual language of the monster for generations, but it's also a heavily sanitized, simplified version that strips out most of Shelley's themes. Karloff's monster is sympathetic, but he's not the articulate, self-aware being from the novel. Kenneth Branagh's 1994 version had the right idea. Go back to the source material, restore the tragedy. But it got bogged down in melodrama and some truly baffling creative choices. The less said about that creature design and the weird reanimation of Elizabeth, the better. Then you've got the adaptations that treat Frankenstein as an action character. Van Helsing, I, Frankenstein, all that rubbish. They miss the point entirely, turning a philosophical horror story into CGI noise. Del Toro's version succeeds because it understands that Frankenstein is fundamentally about parenthood. Every decision he makes serves that theme. The pacing is deliberate, allowing us to spend time with both Victor and the creature, understanding their perspectives. The violence, when it comes, is brutal and tragic rather than exciting. We're not meant to cheer. We're meant to feel the weight of every death, every choice, every moment of cruelty. This is also the first major adaptation to really explore the body horror aspect. The creation sequence is genuinely disturbing, not because of gore for gore's sake, but because Del Toro forces us to consider what it would actually mean to stitch corpses together and reanimate them. The film doesn't flinch from the grotesque reality of Victor's experiment, and that unflinching gaze makes everything more impactful. At the end of the day, Frankenstein is a reminder that we don't need legacy reboots or algorithm-approved slop. We just need good stories told by people who actually give a damn about the craft. Del Toro made a film about playing God without playing it safe. No quips, no fan service, just pure gothic horror with something real to say. This is a film that trusts its audience to handle complexity, to sit with discomfort, to think about what they're watching rather than just consuming content. It's tragic, it's bloody, and it's a masterclass in what happens when you trust a visionary director with classic material. The performances are phenomenal, the visuals are stunning, and the themes hit harder than any superhero punch ever could. Is it perfect? No. The pacing in the second act drags slightly, and some might find the ending too bleak. But those aren't flaws, they're choices. Del Toro made the film he wanted to make, and it shows in every frame. Critics are calling it a 9 out of 10, and shockingly, they're not wrong this time. This is the Frankenstein adaptation we've been waiting for, the one that finally does justice to Mary Shelley's vision while bringing something new to the table. Well, that's all from me today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and please comment as much as you can, and give me suggestions on which movie or anime review you want next. Love to read the comments of people. Bye guys, see you in another video.